Oh, we're live.
What's up?
I got you that time, I think.
Got me
Yeah,
every
we're talking about Squarespace,
talking about Squarespace and websites in general, how important they are.
I guess. Um I do still need to redo Josh's website one day. I'm gonna call him.
Well, on Squarespace, you just mock up a demo real quick. That's how I got my current job.
Really? You mocked up a demo? Yeah, I should do that. I should mock up a demo of Josh's site and then just send it to him and say, hey.
Yeah, I was just sitting at home and made a demo site and sent it to a business owner and said, "This is possible," and it happened.
That is a really good idea. I've heard of people getting entire that girl we met at the Oxford bookstore, she got her entire job was just Facebook, and it was a really small store. And it's like they can't possibly. And I was talking to her about it. I was like, "You, this is 30 people coming here a day. There's no way that you only get paid to do Facebook." And she's like, "No, I walked in, told the manager that I could double his visitors if he let me on his Facebook for a week, and then I did it, and now he hired me full time."
Yeah, man, you should try to solicit work as much as possible.
Yeah, I guess people don't think to be that straightforward. I'm definitely not.
About, every 2 weeks, I send someone a website if I'm looking at a local business.
You send someone a website?
Yeah, with Squarespace, it's incredibly easy. If Kelsey and I are in bed watching TV or something, I'll just put together a website and send it to someone and be like, "Your website could look like this,"
That's a really good way to do it, actually. Huh. I wonder if I should. It could be a little harder for like directories that already do selling. I can think of a few publisher websites that look terrible, and I'd love to call them and say it can look like this, but I don't know how to. I also don't know how to do like large masses of content.
Oh yeah, but that's why I target like restaurants and small shops. People who don't have an online store or anything complicated, just information. Those are the best.
Do you ever think of making a page on your site that says that's just
I might.
specifically website design, and then having your
I'm in the process of adding a creative services page. Now that I have 4 businesses right now that I'm doing websites for, so I'll just have a little page that has blurbs about what I could do, what those people under me already look like, and other services like photography and a little bit of design. And I think that's going to be an important step for me. That's what we're talking about, is auditing our websites right now, what we can add and change.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I need to go through and do that. And like, so you were talking about SEOs, actually.
Yeah, search engine optimization, man, it's really tough to get into because once you start reading it, it all seems kind of like really general mumbo jumbo. But there's some really basic takeaways. Like you had me make an art station recently, and that really plays into SEO. Getting your website link out there in as many places as possible. So Instagram, Facebook, ArtStation, Etsy, everywhere you can list your website is extremely important.
Yeah, Donato actually talks about. I meant to tell you when we were talking about it before. Donato talked about that in his class, the Smart School class that I watched. He actually, every time he comes out with a new painting, he posts it on Instagram, Facebook, DeviantArt, ArtStation, his own website, and then there's like 3 other sites I can't think of right now. I have a list of them that I should also be posting on, but I for some reason forgot about it.
Yeah, it seems like common sense and it's a lot of work, but that is how you really drive traffic towards your website. Like even, Squarespace is really nice. It comes with analytics, and you can see, even with me, I have a percentage of people visiting my website, my portfolio, just from Instagram.
Yeah, it's weirdly low number too. I thought Instagram would be a lot, but it's not. I guess most of your traffic is just typing in the website.
Well, it goes with a lot of people, and I think if you sell prints through your website, which I do, I just don't pursue it aggressively right now because I don't have a large enough audience. But you see a lot of people when they make a post about prints or about art, they'll say, find a link in my bio to buy prints or whatever. And that drives people towards your biography page or to your Instagram page to follow you or to click on that link and go to your website.
True. Yeah, I guess I do have my website linked there. I have my website linked everywhere. What were the other things you were going to say? You said like, oh, that's pretty general. What are the other ones?
Another big thing is just general wordage on your website. Like we were talking before we went live here. Right now I have all of my portfolio under digital on my website, which you see that with a lot of artists, and maybe they're already successful and it works, but I'm about to change that to say just illustration, because when people are searching on the web or searching through whatever engine, digital isn't going to be a term they're going to be looking for. They're going to be looking for illustration if that's the type of subject matter they want. So being really specific with page titles and art titles and anything like that really helps.
Yeah, I have mine listed as work because that's how you talk about it when you're in like a more formal art setting. But I should definitely change that now that you say that, because work is the farthest thing away from what anyone's typing in looking for art.
Yes, and man, Squarespace cut us a check sometime, but it's fortunate using them. They work out a lot of the structural stuff, and that's a big part of SEO is making sure the hierarchy of your website as far as headlines and everything that comes after that are in order.
I heard, I guess also you can put in like into the footer of your website, like invisible words, right?
Yeah, you can. You just gotta be careful with it. I mean, that's something you really got to study, because it can, the way that works is, take Google, for example. They have crawlers, these bots that just crawl around the internet and they index your entire website starting from top to bottom. And as long as it's structurally correct, everything will go smooth. But if you type in all these buzzwords and stuff out of order, or you just have a bunch of, I don't know, it knows when you're obviously trying to cheat the system, and it'll just completely skip over whatever information that is.
Oh, okay. So if you copy paste the dictionary.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. Yeah. So you could, yeah, that is something you want to look into, I guess, because it just seems like it could work against you, is what you're saying.
Yeah. And there are a lot of really great resources, like Moz, M-O-Z, has a really extensive free guide on SEO, and I recommend anyone to go give that a once over or twice over. I have it bookmarked.
How come you haven't told me any of this? How come this is the first time I'm hearing about any of this?
Let's saving it for the podcast.
Well, don't.
We have two very pulling up your website right now. We have two very different formats, and
yeah, I just said I'm about to go through. Don't call me out. There's actually a painting on there listed, and it should be the name of a different painting, and I have been so lazy. I'm so upset about the website that I don't want to change it. I don't even want to look at it or go there, but at the same time, I know it's my fault and I could just change it for the better. I'm really bad about that. If someone calls me tomorrow and asks me about Kickstarter, I can tell you, like, I look up a lot of stuff on Kickstarter, and I recently have. Alex could probably tell you more because he's done a lot of Kickstarters, or someone who's done a lot of Kickstarters, but I could tell them a lot of things that would make them successful, but I'm not doing it. I do the same thing in art. I can tell somebody what can make them successful in painting and art, but I'm not doing it. I'm a bad example. Like when on the One Fantastic Week page, somebody asked about what are things you don't like in websites, and one thing you learn when you start building, it's like 2-3. I don't remember when I built my website, but months ago, or a year ago, I had no idea. I was like, if you had asked me to build a website, I'd have been like, I have no idea, nothing at all. And now, because Squarespace is so easy to tackle, I'm also able to look at other people's websites and say, oh, I don't like this. And then it registers in a very constructive way into how I can bring that back to my site. Right. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess when you start doing something, you learn a lot about it initially. And I think when your mind gets in that process, okay, like I bet you don't, maybe you do, you don't look around and say, oh, I like how that wooden desk or that shelf is constructed. But if you got a carpentry job tomorrow or had to go build a table tomorrow, you would then, because your mind has been in that mindset, start looking around at the different ways that things are put together.
Yeah.
So.
No, I get where you're coming from.
Sorry. No, I just remembered. No, because you get passionate about it. I get so upset at artists who have bad websites. And it's because they're letting other people build it for them.
Well, yeah, that or they're trying to do it themselves from scratch, which, you know, we both tried for a while and struggled with. But it's an important thing because increasingly your website is a reflection of you. And I mean, I think a lot of who you are as an artist, whether you want it to or not, comes out in that website.
Right.
I mean, it's not just your portfolio, but how you put the website together says a lot about your personal aesthetic and your goals, I think.
Yeah, I still hate James Jean's website. I'm sorry. I gave it a chance. It's okay.
His website is overly complicated for no reason, but I mean, he can get away with it because he's fucking great.
James Jean, yeah.
You still need to add a favicon to your website.
Do I not have one?
It's still the little square.
Whoa.
Yeah, make a little 100 by 100 pixel image and toss it in there.
Yeah, I should.
I mean, ours are different. Mine's very simple for a reason. Like none of my artworks have any description to them. I don't sell prints of all of them. I just purely use it as here's my current portfolio, take a browse through it. And I like yours because, you know, you have different goals. And when you click on a painting, you get the narrative, you get the size, the price, and then you have an option to buy it right there. Like your portfolio is also an interactive store. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I 100% believe that if you have the ability to sell prints in any form or fashion, then your website needs to have somebody needs to be able to press buy when they're looking at your images. They just do. Yeah, there's a lot I want to change about it, just the structural design of it. Surely no reason that it needs to look like this, but I'm on it. I'll get there. Don't worry. And I'm starting to really, I think squares were a big part of websites in the past. We're all very comfortable with squares, but I'm really liking the newer vertical or horizontal ideas that people are coming up with for imagery. And I think we're getting more comfortable with dynamic imagery from watching movies and things like that, too.
True. You just don't want to get too busy, especially as an artist and any artist that wants to make a portfolio. Like people that you're sending your portfolio to want to go to your site and immediately see the work. Like the quickest you can get that person from the email to your portfolio is the best possible path. So I think the more, I guess, engaging and creative you get with your website, the more you risk increasing that time.
Yeah, that's true.
Like James Jean's website.
And James Jean. I still don't like, say, Donato's website. Like, I don't like it at face value, but there's things that I really like about it, too. Like, I know when I'm going to go over there real quick so I can not.
But it's a really nostalgic value there of, you know, you're back in the 90s, you're playing D&D, and you're going to these artist websites, and that's what they look like.
Well, I think for me, Donato's website is 100%. There is some design there, but it's so intuitive. It's like, okay, where do I want to go? I want to go to the galleries. And then you see the different subcategories. And the gallery pops up, all of the paintings are just right there. And you're like, oh, I want to click on that one. And then if you want to make it bigger, you just click on it again. And then there's arrows where you can scroll or you can go back to the gallery. It's not trying to be anything that it's not. Everything that you want is there for you to easily click on. And I think if you mix like that with a better designed website, or it's not that it's not functional, it's just not pleasing to the eye.
Well, yeah, it's that, and I find the gallery kind of hard to navigate a little bit just because it's so much and it's so unorganized.
Yeah.
He's going to be upset when he comes on the show next month, but oh well.
I should talk to him about it. Oh, wait, I should send him a mock-up.
There you go. Give us some examples of some fantasy websites that you like then.
I mean, it's already Dan Dos Santos. Maybe there are some things I don't like about it, but I don't remember. I like it. I like Dan Dos Santos.
So
he actually has a background in web design. Yeah, he built this.
Takeaway from that is, that goes back to the eliminating the time from the client gets to see a portfolio. You immediately get to Dan's website. There's a grid view of all of his paintings right there. You get to see it immediately and take it all in. The crops on the thumbnails are perfect. You open them up. Oh, it opens in a different window. I don't like that, but still, you get to see a big picture right there.
I think the different window thing works for art websites because a lot of times when it pops up in a light room, what do they call those things? The light box?
Light box.
When they pop up in a light box, it's really hard to zoom in. And as an artist, I really enjoy that it pops up and I can zoom in.
True.
But I also like that if you click it, it takes you to another page too. Because maybe I want to click it and then while I'm on the image, like I said, why can't I just buy it directly from that store? And the way that he handles prints is very different than the way other people handle prints. And the way he views his website too. I think it comes down to what he wanted from it. It's nothing he couldn't do. I mean, clearly he's very good at what he's... Huh. Anyway. I don't know.
I like it. It's simple. Ultimate simplicity leads to purity, and especially when you're talking about a portfolio.
That's true. Well, you talk about people lasting, how quickly they get from the email and then get to the art. I think, too, that when people come to your page and you're not trying to get hired, you want to give them an experience. One thing I really love about Todd's website is that it feels like a total experience when you're there. Or maybe that's just my nostalgic value of the site coming through.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like when you go to Todd's website, it's a place to stay and look around. I never just go and look at one thing, which is nice.
And I think that goes back to your website kind of being a reflection of your own aesthetic and interest. Todd, being the great fantasy artist that he is, you get on this website and you see, this is a fantasy world in its own, and you can explore it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have the gallery section at the top, but then across the middle you have it broken into D&D, dragons, his Evertide stories, Drizzt, and then magic. So having those sections right there, I think, is really important because you can go on your own adventure in each one.
Right, yeah. And if you want to see tutorials, Smart School, all that stuff's just hanging out on the front page. One thing I will say that I really don't like, and maybe this is just me, I hate long pages. I don't like long pages.
I hate long pages, and if you're an artist thinking of having a website with parallax scrolling, stop.
Don't do it. Stop.
Infinite scrolling is horrible, horrible, horrible.
Infinite scrolling is the worst thing to happen to websites ever. It works for like a restaurant where you just click something. Most people who aren't artists, when they get on the internet and they click something and it scrolls down, they're like, wow, that's really cool. Now let me make a reservation. But if it's a site where you want people to hang out, scrolling back and forth, up, down is like it's infuriating, actually.
Well, it's not intuitive and it's not good for SEO. It's gonna hurt you in the long run.
I saw an artist with one of those the other day, actually. And it was clearly a well done website, but man, I actually had no idea where anything was. I think, yeah, not being intuitive is a big part of it. Show people your art straight off the bat. I think I don't know what it is. I need to ask myself more questions, but if you can get to that thing that makes people want to stick around, then you're solid. Like I can think of a few websites where I like to hang out.
Yeah, that's having art on them. Like my website links you directly to my illustration page, and as long as on the first page people see artwork, that's cool. And I think Dan, he has a logo with an entrance page, which is good. It makes you interact a little bit. And then before we started talking here, I showed you Dirty Robot's website. So if anyone wants to see, go to dirtyrobot.work. He also has an interactive little video welcome page.
That's pretty cool.
And I mean, it's really neat. You immediately get to see, this guy is very talented. He's animated something, and then you click, you go straight into the website, and I like that. And there's art on the front page. And then following that, I think your about page is an area where you can have some fun because people are going to go there after they look at your work. And again, Dirty Robot kills it with his about page. He has a really neat Final Fantasy type character sheet. And I think we both also had some fun on our about page. You have an illustration of yourself that I love. And I just have a funny picture of my grandfather and a funny description.
I love your about page. Yeah, if you want to laugh for the day, go to Bear's about page.
I mean, that's the chance to really
get to know you,
get to know me. But I don't think you should have like a long drawn out biography. I think it's a chance to really say something about, why this website exists, and it's important.
That's true. Well, yours works as a yours works as a sort of thesis. Yours looks like you wrote something for a gallery to put on a wall, which I like.
And that's what I wanted it to be. That's how I feel about my illustrations. I mean, that's why, your work has descriptions and narratives, and that's a huge part of your work. I mean, you work through these narratives, but for me, my work's exploring something else, something personal, and that about me is the thesis statement for it.
Mm. Right. We should. Well, it's weird because you sometimes don't get to choose your audience or your venue. I was talking to Alex the other day. It would be pointless for him to make a website or to even really sell anything on his website, which I originally was like, oh, that doesn't make sense. But there's another venue, kind of like their version of Amazon, where people just like to have their library of everything they buy in one place. So anyway, this month I looked at my ArtStation, and my ArtStation has more visits and likes and interaction than my website does. And it's like, oh, I can't choose the venue here. I mean, I want to send people to my website. I'll eventually have more people on looking at my website than Facebook or my ArtStation, hopefully.
Yeah, again, that's the important thing about being on as many venues as possible. And it's a frustration. It's a lot of work to keep up with all of it, but it's part of the game now.
Yeah, when I was really getting into it, when I would come out with a new painting, I would have 5 different tabs open, just ready to click and drag.
Yeah,
because I hated it so much.
As me being the constant counterexample, I was never on an online forum or any kind of, conceptart.org, none of that stuff. I never got into that. I never knew about it, really. I was the sole artist of my group of friends growing up in high school. And when I wanted to see an artist, when I wanted to see James Jean's work, his new work, I always went to his website. I went to other artist websites. I went directly to the source, and I didn't know these other places existed. And I'm sure there still are people like that. So it's important to have that website. And then for the other side of the audience, it's important to be on ArtStation and exhaust yourself finding all of these places to find where to post your art.
Well, James Dean could be on ArtStation too if he wants.
Well, just in general, I keep using him as an example, but just because he was the first big artist that I found then, and you know,
right
at the time, it's what I had.
Yeah, big artists have a different, and also if you, I would be willing to say that if you really don't understand something, like if James Jean doesn't understand what DeviantArt is about, don't go over there. Maybe I don't know.
DeviantArt was one thing I knew about, but I posted on a little bit, and I felt like it was a different audience than what I wanted to engage.
Yeah, I have never been a huge fan of like scrolling around DeviantArt. It's so hard to find what you're looking for. So a lot of people don't feel that way, but I'm not into that kind of art. One thing, or the kind of art that prevails over there. One thing I think I was trying to say, if James Dean wanted to be on DeviantArt, he could probably get more organic people coming to him from DeviantArt. It's fine, be on DeviantArt, even if you don't understand it. I think what I was trying to put out there is the idea that, like, if you don't understand building a website, and you have to hire someone else to do it for you, don't do that, because I think a lot of people get themselves in trouble by saying, oh, of course I should hire a professional to build a website. But then when you've paid them and they're gone, you can't manage your website anymore. As technology changes and the years go on, can you add new art to your website? How easy is that? Can you change something if design styles change?
Yeah, I think that is very important. I just did a website for a local restaurant, and they wanted a new domain name. They wanted new everything, and I whipped it all out, but they still have their old website up and running, and they don't have any of the information to change it. So we're desperately working to try to get that together and get that website offline so we can stop any traffic from going there. But that's the same case of getting into that mess, unaware.
Right. That was the problem with Todd's old website that I redid, and it might be the problem with a lot of people's websites. That somebody did it because back in the 90s, it's like, oh, of course somebody else is going to do your website. But then his section that was new art just had like 300 things in it because he couldn't move them from that new art section, and that's the only one he could update. And now he can just go on there and change whatever he wants because Squarespace is kind of a dream.
Yeah, and we keep saying Squarespace. There are other options as well.
No, they're not.
You're welcome to compare them. Squarespace is just very easy to use and affordable, but certainly, even if you're going to use Squarespace, you should take some time before you purchase it. And there's infinite free resources to learn everything you need to know about setting it up, about basic SEO stuff, about setting up a basic store, PayPal accounts, blah, 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 blah. Getting all that together, it's all out there. And again, we both have email addresses that will drop at the end of the show, and you can contact either one of us.
Oh, yeah. Ask me anything about websites. I also love helping other people not make bad websites, because I think that if every artist has a bad website, people stop going to artist websites. I don't know. I want everyone to look nice too. It's a community effort. I want to teach people something that I've learned. If I think, because I'm a really dumb person, so if I learn something, I want to like throw it out in the world. Like, can you believe I didn't know this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, man, sharing knowledge is the most important thing we can do. I was just looking at Carla Ortiz's website. She needs a favicon too. That's a dead giveaway, by the way. If you use Squarespace and you don't update that favicon, there's that square there. Everyone knows.
It's a square there, and everyone knows. That's true. This is clearly a Squarespace site. isn't it? Or is she using WordPress, trying to make it look like a Squarespace site?
That would be insane, I think. But it's
I
just
see.
paying attention to the little details. People care about that, surprisingly enough. And
I actually see a lot of people who are probably using WordPress or just building something, trying to make it look like a Squarespace site. If you've never actually jumped on Squarespace, you're back.
Alan's back, everybody.
Oh God, was that me?
That was you.
Oh, well, I don't know what I was saying.
It's fine. You said people, WordPress, Squarespace.
Yeah, no, I go to Squarespace if you haven't tried their templates, their free templates out. Just go look at them. You'll see something you haven't known that you've seen before, because there are so many websites I see that are just trying to copy Squarespace. And they didn't invent the infinite scroll, but they made it popular, for instance.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is it's totally free to go to Squarespace and set up a 14-day trial and play with it. And by the end of that, if you decide you want to go with it.
That is true. You don't actually have to build a website to make those things for your companies that you send them to.
Yeah, I mean, you have no excuse not to just at least poke around and see what it's about.
I'm gonna build a Squarespace site right now.
Well, I fear younger artists falling into the trap of just thinking having an Instagram is okay or just having an ArtStation is okay. Like, you need a home base, and you'll see that every professional artist has one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if my website is. It helps me that on my card it says alanmarsart.com, and it's a good portfolio, and people can go see my work if they want to. It hasn't got me any sales.
Well, I can't speak to the I can't speak about selling prints because that's not where my interests lie. But I know as far as getting representation or at least applying for work or trying to find clients, having a website like that where they can immediately go to, because a lot of clients and agents, they don't want to go to these essentially social media sites. They don't care about that.
That's true. Or ArtStation. Yeah.
They want to know that you have a portfolio and you're the real deal.
And that's another thing you said about, kind of developing a personality for yourself. Your website's your home base, so they'll see what kind of person you are.
Yeah, and it goes a lot farther than that. Is it proves that you are a professional. Like it's a sign of, I don't want to say it, but maturity. Like, that's what they want. They want to know that you've put in the time to do this thing and you have put in this much effort to get this far. So maybe we should hire this person to do this work because they actually care about it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of, you said not selling prints. Would you say that someone who's not selling prints still needs a website?
Yeah, absolutely. I sell prints on my website, but that's not my intention. I just do it to have it.
Okay. No, it was just a question.
Yeah.
Oh, I am out of it today, and everyone can probably tell.
Alan's hungover, everybody. Welcome to the Hungover Podcast featuring Alan Morris.
Oh, not hungover. I'm just, I don't know. I think catching something. I don't like it.
That's fine. It's good for your art. You can paint. What is it? What's that mummy disease we keep getting in Baldur's Gate?
I think it's just disease.
Yeah, you can do a disease illustration. That'll be good for you.
That would be really nice. I would like to do that. I'm not going to. Happy Halloween, by the way. It'll be Halloween when this comes out.
It will be, man. I will actually release it tomorrow just for the sake of it being Halloween.
Really, we should talk about Halloween. What are you doing?
Yeah, let's talk about it. We're probably going down to our juke joint. I'm gonna dress up as a bear. Kelsey's gonna dress up as a spider, I think.
What?
Fitting, right?
How is she gonna dress up as a spider?
I'll send you pictures.
Yeah, that would be okay. We'll make the pictures of you and Kelsey in a costume the headline of the podcast.
It'll be scary. The bear costume's pretty scary.
I always love this time of year because you get to see kind of how creative people can get when they want to be. Halloween was a big part of my childhood. I think I always looked forward to. I never wore like predetermined costumes. I always wanted to do something myself. Like my favorite costume was when I just went as Zorro. If you know who that is, I just had to go buy the hat and some black boots. No,
You're a good Zorro, man.
No one knew who I was.
But when I was a kid, I dressed up as Zorro for fun. Like I loved Zorro.
Me too. Yeah, because you would also stay up till 2 a.m. just to see Walt Disney announce Zorro.
Pretty much, man. Halloween's always been huge for me. I'd go all out on the costumes, all out on the pumpkin carvings. College, we took it to another level because then I had a group of people I could work with. So I think sophomore year was the record-setting year when we dressed up as Kiss.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we had a girl from the art department come do our makeup. It was incredible.
Remember when I ruined your costumes?
That makeup was terrible anyway, but an hour later it was all sweated off of us.
Yeah, I couldn't. It was difficult to paint with. I had to use it in big globs. I actually later on in my life got actual like painting makeup. It's really nice stuff, but it's also really expensive. But at the same time, I would like to say that if someone's really good at painting, don't assume they can paint your face well. They can't.
It's much harder than you think. I'd say the how do you feel? How'd the whole Inktober craze go for you? I didn't play a part in it, but I looked at everybody's art.
I'm on drawing 29 now. I have been keeping up every day. I don't show them to anyone. They're hidden under my desk here.
Inktober.
I haven't done anything, by the way. That's not true. Okay, what?
I don't know. I'm on the fence about Inktober. Like,
oh, here we go.
Well, it's a month.
What do you not like about Inktober?
Let's draw every single day and be happy about it. But what about the rest of the year? Damn it!
You can't keep that up for a full year, unless you're Evan Amundsen.
Yeah, that guy is
also a lot of other people, I guess, did that.
A lot of people do it.
You're over there saying, I don't want to sell prints. It's not my goal. And you're harassing people. What if it's not their goal to spend every day doing an illustration?
I'm not harassing them. I'm just explaining why I don't get it. See, we had a conversation about this, how I have an intelligence of 3 and I literally don't understand anything.
All right.
I was just looking at Tyler Jacobson's website, and I think he has a great website.
He doesn't have a website. Does he have a website now?
He's going to be upset.
Wait. What?
Everyone, in the next month, we're going to have Tyler on, and Nano, and Todd.
Oh, yeah, this website. Yeah, it's actually okay.
Once they figure out all the horrible things Alan has said about them, it's not going to go well.
I feel like this has changed. He didn't I think the store is just inprint.com, isn't it? Oh, he sells them right out of, oh yeah, this has definitely changed. Wow.
Everyone go check out Tyler Jacobson's website. You'll see he has 2 galleries, which I am in love with. The first gallery is all of his fantasy art, incredible work. The second gallery is all of, and I've stalked him via his agent, but his editorial work, his work for Adult Swim, all of his commercial work, and man, it is great stuff.
Yeah, this is all changed. There are some things I don't like about it. I don't want to call them out.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that he did work for Black Jesus. That I had no idea.
You didn't?
No.
He did 2 paintings, I think.
Yep.
Right? 2 paintings of Black Jesus.
Really outstanding artist. Tyler Jacobson, everyone. Love him.
Yeah, we're supposed to have him on. I don't know if his schedule will work out. He's apparently ridiculously busy. He took on I've been talking to him. He took on a few jobs that are keeping him really busy. Which is not hard to tell either because you never like see him on social media or anything anymore.
How's about giving us a breakdown of what's going to happen in November here?
Oof, okay, I guess we are kind of creeping up in the last 20 minutes here. So we're going to do an education education episodes in parts. We're going to talk to, I think we're going to start off with Duncan, who was our teacher in college, really wise man, who no one, and I do mean no one, has ever heard of. But we're going to show some of his art. I think it'll be really nice. He's probably going to do this off of his iPad and take a lot of time explaining some things. It's going to be great. I'm really excited for him. Next, we're going to have on everyone you know. We're going to get Tyler. I think after that, we're going to pre-record with him. After we're going to talk to him about kind of his life after college. We're going to talk to Donato after that, Donato Giancola. And then we're going to cap it off with Todd Lockwood, who was kind enough to, all of them were kind enough to say yes to our small podcast, asking if they come on and talk about education. And we're working on forming some really nice topics. I want this to be extremely educational for anyone who's in college, thinking about going to art school, being a teacher, things like that. And we're trying to craft some talking points that are right on the nose, that we can really get the best information we can out there. So
yeah, and that's why we're tackling such a diverse group there. They all have wildly different backgrounds in art and education, and it's a topic we're really passionate about. Very passionate about.
Yeah. I wonder if we should. We had always talked about doing an education show by ourselves. We had actually recorded one. I've probably said this on the podcast. We had recorded one and then ended up like never releasing it because we were like, oh, this is a lot of information for 1 hour, and B, we have a very skewed. We have education is more than us, right? It would be bad information if it were only coming from us because there's so many different avenues there.
We want to get perspectives from people that are out there doing professional work now that have been through these different modes of education. And we had a really traditional fine arts education, and we had it at a very small Southern school. So we want to really get the whole spectrum here, especially with the way digital art is growing, the way fine art is growing. We want to know what venues work, when venues don't necessarily work, and what you can make work for yourself. I mean, it's there will always be people who say, oh, you don't need art school, you can just teach yourself everything, and there'll be people who have greatly benefited from art school. So comparing all of those things and getting the full picture can only be beneficial for anyone who is moving forward in the arts.
Yeah, I will say that I thought art, like or at least my own story of like wanting to be an illustrator and then getting to art school and figuring out like fine art is just totally different, and the way they teach it is totally different, and a little jarring to like what my end goals were. That's not uncommon. So Greg Manchez, I heard him last week on One Fantastic Week. He was like, oh yeah, I wanted to be an illustrator, so I went to art school, and that just ended up being a wash. But he had the same kind of thing actually, where it was mostly paint what you feel, kind of abstract art with just some basics thrown in there, and I just tried to unlearn all of that.
I think I'm really interested in targeting people like me who I was interested in art. I was from a small Tennessee town. No one really was interested in art besides me. The most experience I had was a few graphic design forums maybe, and I was the photo editor for my school yearbook, and I thought Photoshop was really cool, and I kind of knew how to draw, didn't know anything about painting, and I didn't know what the possibilities were after that. I thought graphic design was the only path forward. So I think any exposure we can add is beneficial.
Yeah, that's kind of true. I bet if you live in a smaller town, any artist you know is only locally famous, and they're probably like that crazy guy that sits outside of his house and paints all the time.
Absolutely.
And you know, so it's easy to say, "Oh, I don't want to be a painter artist because I don't want people to look at me weird, or I don't want to end up like that guy, or that guy's not making any money." So it's like, "Oh, I should go into graphic design because that's clearly where I can be pragmatic."
Right. I think the goal is just showing the different venues and different possibilities, and the right education for each one.
Yeah. I remember when I was going into art school, I actually lied to everyone. I said I wanted to be a teacher. And so every year they would say, "Oh, how's it, you want to be a teacher, right? How's all that going?" "Huh, going great."
See, I had no expectations and no goals. I went in totally blind and came out totally blind.
Yeah, I always talk about you being like the poster child for doing, just kind of deciding to do something, because I went into art school, I knew exactly what I wanted to be, which was an illustrator. And I've always, so like when I would go search for artists online, I would look up illustration, I would look up the artists that were doing the illustrations that I liked, like Todd and Donato, and which is one reason I'm really honored to have them on the show. Where actually this November is the month of my heroes, is actually what I'm trying to accomplish here.
Hero month.
Hero month. And yeah, so anyway, I knew all of that stuff, and you didn't have any goals. I mean, you were just kind of going along there.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, freshman year, I told my 2D design teacher that I hated all abstraction in any form of it, and then I came out with Rothko and Clifford Still is
Yeah,
my favorite painters. Like, I finally had the exposure to all of these different ideas and concepts, things like public art, Rick Lowe and Mel Chin, and just everything. And so I was even more confused than when I first went to art school, because it's like, what do I do now? I love all of these things, but I have no idea where to go.
Yeah, you came out with 6 foot tall abstract paintings.
I know.
It's still, to me, is just hilarious from where you started. I saw some of your high school work.
It was awful. I mean, I was really terrible.
It was really objective. You were like, you know, basic, almost like newspaper comic book objective. Like, this is an object.
Just that and really simple design work. I mean,
Probably better than my high school work, really. One thing I can say, this is one reason I'm so passionate about education, is that I was terrible. I was really bad at what I do, and then I got a lot better at it because, and it really happened in college, because I realized that no one was going to teach me what I wanted to know. So I had to find a different way to do it, which was usually like the whole first, I mean, besides Duncan, who I would talk to about like what people like Rembrandt would do or things like that. Um, and Duncan was a much more traditional artist with a traditional upbringing, but he didn't really want to talk about it. Anyway, no, I would go to the library every week and check out a different art book and carry it around everywhere. Or like I've already talked about, I just bought the Donato DVD and watched it every morning while I had coffee.
yeah. I mean, that's the other objective here, is finding the education that's relevant to you.
Yeah. There was actually a kid, I gave that lecture at the college, and there was a kid that was like, "I kind of feel like you. I want to do the kind of work you do. I actually want to end up working for Pixar or for DreamWorks or something. Should I?" And I really want to go to SCAD, or I want to go to the Artist Academy. And I was like, he asked me for any advice or whether he should do that. And I said, I've looked at those tuitions because I was thinking about it myself. I really don't think you need to do that. And if any artist wants to call me on that, please do. But I was like, if you want to give $10,000 to an art school, go find your favorite artist, give it to them, and say, teach me everything you know.
Yeah, I mean, again, finding the education's relevant to your interest. You know, in some cases it'll be worth it, which we'll learn, and we'll also learn in some cases it's not gonna be worth it.
I don't know. Maybe I just shouldn't talk about this stuff.
We're gonna find out. That's why this month is coming up. We're doing a whole series on it.
Can we point everyone to Yale's art school page?
Well, Yale's a great school if you want to be on the bleeding edge of contemporary art.
And we do mean
if that's not your interest, then Yale is not the fine art school for you.
We do mean the bleeding edge. Oh man.
That being said, everyone gets a full studio space, incredible contact, everything. You get the whole 9 yards, but you got to be right there.
Wasn't there someone who was just doing paintings of like sex toys?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow. I mean, really miraculous.
But I mean, at the end of this, we'll recap on the whole series, and I want to talk about some schools that I think are great. My dream schools, you know, the Visual School in New York. If I could go there, I think I'd cry. But
or the Artist, I would like to go to the Artist Academy there in New York.
You know,
or the Artist League, or whatever they call it now.
Once we're done talking to everyone, we'll recap that. And moving forward, we'll get some more guests for everybody. You're sick of hearing our voices, but, you know, so the Hanging Out podcast, you're hanging out with Bear and Allen.
Well, we were trying to save these artists for November, too, is a big part of it.
We wanted to get these guys one after another so you could have the whole series going.
And now they don't have a choice. They have to be on here because we promised everyone.
Yep, made the promise.
I should probably make sure they want to be on here now.
Everyone, it's Alan's fault.
No, don't do that. You know, if no one wants to be on, I will. I'll just jump in as the expert.
Alan Moore's expert educator. Everyone, he said he wanted to be a teacher. He's there.
Right, I am a great art teacher. Yeah, I'm still out of it. Sorry for my rambling.
Well, last minutes here. Are there any other websites you recommend anyone check out if they want some examples?
I don't know. Greg Manges. I mean, Angelarium is, I think, the creme de la creme of like what being an artist relevant to your own work is about as far as art and showing your work goes. I mean, Pete Moorbacher makes a lot of money, and he does it by having a really functional, good website that shows the work. He also is really prominent on Patreon and Kickstarter. I mean, the guy is like numero uno in, you know, if we're going to be talking about websites, I would like to say if there's a website you like, or if you have any questions, like find a website that you like or that you don't like or that isn't working for you, and just call people. Send people emails and be like, hey, I'm working on a website. Do you have anything that really has not worked for you? Because the more that you ask other people questions, you can get a cumulative idea of what doesn't work. You know, maybe like if you're at a convention, or no, I'll stick to websites. Like having your work show up on the homepage. Does that work? I really don't know because I haven't asked anybody. If 10 artists get together and say, have your work on the homepage, it's worked really well for me, then I at least know that you have some sort of replicable action. Even if you don't, I go to every website because it's like seeing every movie. Be a suction of information, and then you can know what you don't like. And then talk to people. Say, what? Don't ask them. Don't say, hey, I like your website. You should say that, but you should also say, is there something that just really hasn't worked for you?
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. We've talked to that notion before about just contacting artists, and you'll be surprised by their generosity. But certainly with websites, once you get comfortable working with, say, Squarespace or WordPress, whatever you want to work with, start poking around and looking at other websites. try to figure out how they did it on their own, and then message them and be like, hey, I like this function of your website. How's it working out for you? How do you think I can implement it? Or how did you implement it? And go from there.
Do that with everything. Artists really give. Bear, what's something that happened on your website you really didn't like? It really
Something
hasn't just
happened on
worked out at all.
my website that I really didn't like.
Yeah, what's something didn't work?
Man, my website's so simple that
Yeah, I
there's
know.
nothing that works or doesn't work. It just exists. Honestly, that's kind of the reason I made it that way. Is it is purely built for function.
Right. I guess now you can only add things to it that you learn are good already.
Exactly. I started with a blank slate so I can grow from there. Was kind of the purpose.
Hmm. Mine's probably, if I had to think, something that hasn't worked. The store definitely hasn't worked. I don't know why.
I think that's just marketing.
It's market. I don't have an audience. That's all. One day I'll have an audience. I'm working on it. I got
It comes with
ideas.
time.
Always
That's
have
why
goals.
we're hanging out.
Everyone have goals that you can work toward.
Please set goals. Like, give your life some value.
Bear,
Alan?
do you want to do the?
I guess I'll do the
Do you
thing.
want me to do the thing?
No, you're out of it. I'll do it.
I
Let me
mean,
catch my breath.
Okay, can you do it as fast as me, or?
I don't think I can, but I'll do it the way I do it. All right, everybody. You've been hanging out with the Bear and Alan. If you want to find us, we're at Hanging Out Podcast on Instagram. Find us on Facebook, Hanging Out with Bear and Alan. That's hanging with an apostrophe, not another G. If you want to find me, I'm Bear the Painter on Instagram, Bear the Painter on Facebook. BearIslesArt.com. That's Bear, ILES art.com. Alan, where can everybody find you?
That's almarsart.com. You can send us an email to let us know what you want to hear. almarsart.com. On Facebook, it's just Alan Morris. You can find me. Click on any of your favorite artists, and I guarantee I'm a friend of theirs. Not really, but you can find me. You can email me, almarsart@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram, almarsart. It's just Alan Morris Art. Alan Morris Art everywhere.
That's right. And please, if you have any questions about Squarespace, about anything, contact either one of us. We'll get back to you very quick.
I'll build your website.
We'll make a demo website for you. I mean, you don't understand how easy it is. We'll do it.
Call me.
Yeah, call Alan.
My number's on my website. Just call me.
If you want to hang out with us, contact us. We'll check you out. We'll check your credentials. If you're not creepy, you're welcome to join.
Do you want to do the? I'll talk about it. I'll talk about it later. All right. Oh, I have to press the button. I forgot. Sorry. All right.
Alan's got to press the button.